Welcome to the EPL and UCL talks. Today we are diving into a match that was, well, supposed to be a comfortable formality, but it ended up being this frantic, chaotic, and totally revealing drama. I'm talking about Manchester City's narrow 3-2 victory over Leeds United at the Etihad. City secured 3 vital points, sure, moved them up the table, but the performance itself, I mean, it raises some serious questions. It went from total comfort to near disaster in the space of just 45 minutes.
It really did. And that, I think, is the core of our deep dive today. Because, while 3 points are 3 points, this chaotic victory raises some serious alarm bells about the champion's title credentials. We really have to unpack this Jekyll and Hyde nature of their display. One half, they look peerless. The next, they look like a team, frankly, fighting relegation.
Yeah.
So what does this inconsistent performance mean for the chasing pack and maybe more importantly, for City's defensive stability going forward?
Okay, let's unpack this then. The first half, as you said, it looked like a training exercise for City. It was total domination, cruise control football. What were the key metrics that showed their stranglehold on the game before the break?
Well, the speed of the start alone tells you everything, about Leeds' preparation or lack thereof. Phil Foden scored in just 59 seconds. That's the fastest Premier League goal of the season so far. And by the 25th minute, they were already up 2-0, thanks to Josko Gvardiol finding the net from a corner.
But the truly shocking number comes from the chance creation, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We have to talk about expected goals, or XG. For those who might not know, it's a metric that calculates the probability of a shot resulting in a goal. City recorded an XG of 2.4 in that first half alone.
2.4? That's staggering.
It is. It means statistically they created enough chances to score almost 2.5 goals. They had 14 shots compared to Leeds' measly 2. It was, by the numbers, the most dominant first-half performance by any team in the league this season. It honestly looked over.
The dominance was almost paralyzing for Leeds. But here's where the narrative just fractures completely. What happened? What was the mechanism of that collapse immediately after halftime? Was it a tactical thing or just, mental complacency setting in?
I think it was a destructive combination of both, but the mental shift was just staggering. The transformation started almost immediately. Leeds scored in the 49th minute through Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and City's reaction was just slow, lethargic. But what is so alarming for a team with title ambitions is the sheer statistical swing. Between halftime and the 88th minute, City managed only 1 shot.
Just one shot.
1. Meanwhile, Leeds recorded 6 shots in that same period, and they were completely forcing City onto the back foot, creating real danger.
It sounds less like a tactical adjustment by Leeds, though we'll get to that, and more like City just came out expecting the game to finish itself.
That's precisely the internal diagnosis. Phil Foden, after the match, he didn't mince words. He said the team didn't come out with the right attitude and admitted the game slipped away from us very quickly. For a champion side, that level of complacency against a team you should see off comfortably, that's a very dangerous pattern.
So when the pressure mounts like that, you look to your star players to stabilize the ship. And Phil Foden, he was the constant source of quality, really bookending the match. Tell us about his impact in both those moments of salvation.
Foden was exceptional today. I mean, he was the undisputed man of the match. Everything positive City created seemed to flow through him. His first goal, that expert volley so early on, that set the tone. But the biggest moment was that crucial stoppage time winner, 90+1 minute.
Right when they needed it most.
Exactly. Scores 2-2, all the momentum is gone, and he delivers this unerring left-foot finish, slicing it through a crowd of defenders right into the bottom corner. It was a moment of pure technical brilliance that rescued the result and, frankly, maybe their season.
And in stark contrast to Foden's heroism, you have Erling Haaland, the superstar who was, well, practically invisible, still chasing that 100th Premier League goal.
Shockingly so.
Yes.
I mean, Haaland is usually the focal point, the human cheat code, right?
Yeah.
Yet he registered only 1 shot in the entire game.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even until the 88th minute.
88th. Wow.
Yeah. So Leeds, to their credit, they achieved their primary objective.
Yeah.
Cutting off his supply lines, denying him any space in the box. When City's midfield became static in the second half, Haaland's greatest asset, his movement and finishing, it was just rendered useless.
So was that invisibility purely down to Leeds' marking, or was it City's inability to adapt their own play?
I think it was primarily the latter.
Yeah.
Leeds crowded the central channels, which forced City wide, and City's wide play became slow and predictable in the second half. Without those quick, incisive passes into the box, Haaland just became isolated. You could see the frustration building, not just in the stands, but you could see it on the pitch after the final whistle.
That post-match scene was very revealing, wasn't it? That lengthy, animated debrief with the manager right there on the pitch.
Yeah, that confirmed his lack of involvement was a severe issue. The manager spent nearly 2 minutes trying to dissect the performance with Haaland. And what's really telling is how Haaland reacted. He looked disconnected, almost arguing his case. And he was actively trying to pull away from the conversation.
Not a good look.
Not at all. That kind of public heated disagreement confirms that the system broke down and failed to serve its biggest weapon. And the manager clearly felt an immediate dressing down was necessary.
And returning to Foden for a moment, his game-saving performance, scoring that typical number 10 type winner, it just reignites the debate around his international role, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. When he plays centrally, as he did so effectively here, he's a creative force multiplier. But for England, he's often deployed out wide. There's a strong viewpoint that he needs to be that central creative hub, the natural number 10, to really maximize his talent. His form is undeniable. He was PFA Player of the Year. This kind of match-winning intervention just piles more pressure on international selectors to use him where he's most effective.
Right. And we absolutely must credit the opposition here. After that, well, abject first half. How did Leeds manager Daniel Farke orchestrate a tactical masterclass that was nearly historic?
Farke earned his money at halftime, no doubt. He made a brave, decisive, and pretty radical move. He took off his two wide players, Nanto and Dan James, and brought on a central defender, Jekyll and a second striker, Dominic Calvert-Lewin.
Wow.
And this shifted their entire structure from a traditional back four to a much more direct 3-5-2 formation.
What specifically did that 3-5-2 do to City's defense that the 4-4-2 couldn't?
It forced City's central defenders, who were so used to controlling the ball and playing out from the back, to deal with the question they just couldn't answer, which was direct, physical presence, and fast transitions. Farke basically asked them, can you deal with two dedicated attackers in high-tempo chaos?
And the answer was no.
The answer was a resounding no. Based on the goals they conceded anyway, Leeds showed immense heart and spirit. They forced their way back to 2-2, and they fully deserved that equalizer.
And as that momentum was shifting, that's when we had the incident that became the biggest talking point off the pitch. The goalkeeper incident.
Yeah, it happened precisely as Leeds were seizing control. The pressure was mounting on City's defense, and their goalkeeper, Gianluigi Donnarumma, suddenly goes down with an apparent injury. The referee pauses the match, and instantly the manager uses that break to call all 10 outfield players into this impromptu team talk, a tactical huddle right there on the pitch.
So it was widely seen as a deliberate tactical timeout, basically designed to cool the game down.
Daniel Farke certainly saw it that way, and he did not hold back in his post-match comments. He directly accused the goalkeeper of feigning the injury for that specific purpose, stating, everyone knows why he went down. And while Farke admitted the tactic was within the rules, he definitely questioned the sportsmanship of it all.
It's a bit of a gray area.
It is, and it shines a bit of a light on Donnarumma, too. His frequent bookings, this was his fourth in just 10 Premier League appearances. It suggests that frustration and maybe a bit of time wasting are becoming an unwelcome theme in his game.
So if we connect this chaotic last-gasp win to the bigger picture, what does it really tell us about City's ability to challenge for the Premier League title this year? Was this champion's resilience, or was it a flashing warning sign?
It is predominantly a warning sign. I mean, specifically highlighting these pervasive defensive frailties that are becoming a genuine worrying trend. You can't ignore the nature of the goals they conceded. The first Leeds goal involved Matheus Nunes making two huge errors, first playing the attacker onside and then gifting him the ball with a loose pass. The equalizer came from Josko Gvardiol's, well, brainless challenge is how it was described, conceding a penalty in a situation that was completely manageable.
So the analysts aren't just reacting emotionally to a tight win. They're seeing deep cracks in the team's structure and their execution.
Exactly. When you compare City to the current leaders, Arsenal, who are often described as a machine, the difference is consistency and control. Arsenal minimizes drama. They rarely let opponents back into games they're winning. City, on the other hand, looks fragile, vulnerable, and nervy under any sustained pressure. And this has led analysts to quietly shift their projections, believing City looks less like the side guaranteed to win the league this year.
But despite all the worries, they did get the points. They moved into second place, keeping within touch of the leaders. And crucially, they have a favorable schedule coming up.
That's the saving grace and perhaps the reason this win is being called season saving.
Yeah.
They have a relatively soft schedule approaching the new year. We're talking Fulham, Sunderland, Crystal Palace, West Ham, and Forest, the imperative now is absolute. They have to win every single one of those games. They can't afford to drop any points if they want the title race to stay competitive heading into that pivotal January 4th fixture.
So the frantic nature of this match, the tactical comeback, the ethical debate around Donnarumma, the massive defensive concerns, it leaves a host of questions hanging over their performance.
It really does. And given those defensive issues that are clearly plaguing the team and knowing they now must win every fixture until the new year, the manager faces this immediate high-stakes pressure cooker. Which leads to our final provocative thought for you to consider. How will he balance the clear need to rest key players, particularly the frustrated Erling Haaland, against the absolute necessity of using his strongest lineup to grind out victories in every single one of those upcoming league games? That balance between workload and victory could very well determine the rest of their season.
Thank you so much for joining us for this latest deep dive, and until we meet again for more insights and surprising facts, we hope you have a wonderfully well-informed and insightful rest of your week.